When you think about the Pacific Islands, I mean, from the perspective of the global tourism industry, it is the perfect product.
It really is. It's high-yield inventory.
It's the dream, right? Sun, sand, sea. The exact dream that we sell to millions of people every single year.
And for the people who actually live inside that inventory, well, that dream is starting to feel more and more like a trap.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are definitely not looking at travel trends or, top 10 beaches.
Yeah, we're looking at a systemic breakdown.
We're working from this really fascinating new paper. It's titled Tourism in the Pluriverse: Bridging Theory and Practice for Regenerative Futures in the Pacific. It just came out, 2026, in the Journal of Destination Marketing and Management.
And if you follow this space, you know the names: Suzanne Becken, Ross Westoby, and their team. But what's really unique here isn't just the authors, it's their method.
Right.
They didn't just sit in a lab somewhere crunching visitor numbers.
No, the paper talks about how they formed a community of practice. And to be honest, that phrase usually makes my eyes glaze over. It sounds so corporate.
I know, right? But this was actually different. They gathered 14 people, academics, NGO leaders, Pacific representatives, and they did a 5-day immersion retreat.
A telenoa.
Yeah, a telenoa, which is a Pacific way of dialogue. It's about deep storytelling, sharing what you've actually lived through. They basically sat down to map out why the current model is failing and, more importantly, how to build a new one.
Without, tanking the entire economy in the process.
Exactly. And they landed on this concept that sounds, well, it sounds a little sci-fi, the pluriverse.
It does. It sounds like something from Marvel or a physics textbook, not a tourism strategy.
But the pluriverse is such a crucial idea for understanding the modern world. It pushes back against this idea of one universal world with one set of rules.
Usually Western economic rules?
Usually. Instead, it says, we live in a world where many worlds fit.
So practically, what does that mean? That you have the world of, say, global capital and airline KPIs existing in the exact same spot as a world of indigenous ancestry and spirits.
Precisely. And the tension comes because we always try to force that second world to fit into the first. We try to put a price tag on the spirits. We put the ancestry on a travel brochure.
Right.
This research is about finding a way to stop doing that, to navigate all these conflicting worlds at the same time.
Okay, let's get into this, because to navigate these worlds, the researchers used 3 different lenses, 3 different frameworks. And I think this is really important because we tend to throw the word sustainable around like it's one simple thing.
It's not. It's full of contradictions. And they identified 3 frameworks that are often, well, at war with each other. The first one is the one we all know: sustainable development. SD.
This is the UN, the corporate standard, the triple bottom line.
Right. It's the dominant logic. It's anthropocentric, so it's human-centered. It's all about balancing the economy, society, and the environment. But, and this is the key flaw they point out, it rarely questions the idea of growth itself.
So the pie has to keep getting bigger? We just need to bake it with cleaner energy and, recycle a box.
You got it. It relies on global standards, certifications, hard data. It's very top-down. But then you have the second lens, which completely flips the perspective: sustainable livelihoods, or SL.
So that's not about national GDP. It's more like, does this specific village have enough to eat?
Exactly. It's the micro level. It looks at a household's capitals, human, social, financial. It's all about resilience. If a cyclone hits, can this community actually cope?
And you can see the tension right there. You could have great sustainable development on a national level, a shiny new airport, but the sustainable livelihoods of the locals are collapsing.
We see it all the time. So SD and SL can actually work against each other, but then they bring in the third lens, which is the really disruptive one: regeneration.
Regenerative tourism feels like the buzzword of the year. Every hotel seems to be regenerative now.
Yeah.
Is it just rebranding sustainability?
Not in this context, not at all. See, sustainability is about doing less harm.
Maintaining the status quo?
Right. Don't wreck it completely. Regeneration is biocentric. It sees the Earth as a living system. It asks, are we healing the system? Are we acting as good stewards?
So sustainable development asks, how can we bring more tourists without destroying the reef? And regeneration asks, wait, does the reef even want us here?
Or how does our presence actively make the reef healthier? It's a completely different standard. And the paper is so clear. You can't just mash SD, SL, and regeneration together. They pull in different directions.
And to visualize how to solve that, the team used a method called 3 horizons. I loved this part because it makes it so visual.
It's a fantastic tool. So imagine a graph. The horizontal axis is time. You have three curves. The first one, Horizon 1, is business as usual.
The current system, mass market tourism.
And on their map, that line is crashing. It's losing fitness. It's dying.
And the group was not kind about Horizon 1. I was looking at the words they used. Greed, lack of care, unfit for purpose. I mean, that is a damning assessment.
It was brutal. And this is coming from people living it. They pointed to specific failures, like the flash sale economy.
Okay, but devil's advocate here. That's great for me, the consumer. I get an email, fly to Fiji for $400, I book it. What's wrong with that?
The hidden costs. That model needs huge volume to work. But these are small islands, with fragile infrastructure. You get massive amounts of waste, you strain the water, you crowd everything, and the profit margin for the destination is tiny.
So you get all the trash, but none of the cash.
Pretty much. Which leads to another huge problem, leakage. The airline is foreign, the hotel is foreign, the food is imported, so the money you spend just relevant later, it barely touches the island before it flies right back out.
The paper also talked about brain drain.
Yeah, the human cost. You have smart, educated Pacific Islanders who come home with degrees in hospitality, but the general manager jobs, they all go to expats. So the locals are stuck in low-wage roles, and eventually the best talent just leaves.
Okay, so Horizon 1 is a crumbling mess. That takes us to Horizon 3. The dream future, what replaces it?
The vision they mapped out is just. It's a completely different world. The core value shifts from growth to well-being.
Well-being is a tricky metric, though. How do you put well-being on a quarterly report?
That's the challenge, but the vision is that success is no longer visitor numbers. It's healthy communities. It's a flourishing environment. It's local ownership and a Pacific voice.
The line that really jumped out at me was the realization that tourism depends on the Pacific people and nature, not the other way around.
That's the paradigm shift. For 50 years, it's been, you're small, you're poor, you need our industry. Horizon 3 flips that to say, our industry needs your beauty, your culture, and your permission.
So we have the nightmare present, Horizon 1, and the dream future, Horizon 3. But we all live in the messy middle, Horizon 2.
The transition zone, this is where all the innovation happens.
And they gave some amazing concrete examples. This isn't just theory.
No, not at all. Like the new ocean commitment.
I looked this up. It's genius. Niue is this tiny island nation, but it controls a massive piece of ocean.
Huge. And traditionally, you'd sell fishing licenses, extraction. Instead, Niue created a way for donors people, companies, to sponsor the protection of their ocean. You can literally pay to protect a specific square kilometer of water.
So it generates revenue by not extracting. It turns conservation into a product.
Exactly. It bridges that gap between the need for a livelihood and the need for regeneration. It meets both needs.
And then there's the Palau Pledge. This was big news a few years back, but I think people miss how deep it goes.
They do. People think it's just a marketing thing. But when you land in Palau, you have to sign a pledge that gets stamped into your passport. And you're not signing it to the government. You sign it to the children of Palau.
I vow to tread lightly, to act kindly.
It's psychological. It reframes you. You're not a consumer with rights anymore. You're a guest with responsibilities.
They also mentioned smaller things like trash to fash in the Cook Islands.
Yes. Teaching locals to make high-end fashion from waste. Or the Fork to Fork initiative in Fiji, connecting hotels directly with local farmers.
But wait, that just seems like common sense. Why is that an innovation?
Because the Horizon 1 supply chain is built for bulk. It's often cheaper and easier for a chef to order frozen fries from New Zealand than to deal with 10 local taro farmers.
Ah, so Fork to Fork is a disruption. It stops the leakage.
It keeps the money in the village.
Okay, but here's the problem. Even with these amazing innovations, you still have that tension between the three lenses. Your global investors want growth, your locals want jobs, and the reef needs a break. How do you actually manage that?
This is the real core of the paper. They propose 8 specific bridging mechanisms to handle those tensions.
Let's get into a couple of those because this is the how-to part. The first one that jumped out was grow well-being versus growth.
This tackles the elephant in the room, degrowth.
Right. The endless debate. Environmentalists say shrink the economy and economists say grow the economy. It's a deadlock. And telling a developing nation they need to degrow feels...
Epic colonial, yeah. So this mechanism just steps around that whole debate. The goal becomes grow well-being. You can still generate revenue, you can even increase it, but you completely change how that money is allocated.
How so?
It's not just about profit for shareholders, it's profit for local priorities. You might use a market tool, like a higher tourist fee, but that money goes directly into a community trust, not just general government taxes.
So it's not about having fewer dollars, it's about making the dollars do different work.
That's it, exactly. Another huge one is ground truthing the global.
Ground truthing, I love that. It sounds like something from intelligence gathering.
In a way, it is. The tourism industry loves global certifications. Green Globe, Earth Check. Standards written in Geneva or London.
Which might not make any sense on a coral atoll.
Often they don't, or worse, a resort checks all the boxes for energy efficiency, but they built their pool on a sacred burial site, or they blocked a village's access to their fishing roof.
So the global certificate says sustainable, but the local reality is anything but.
Exactly. Ground truthing means you don't just accept the sticker, you validate it against indigenous knowledge. The local truth on the ground has to override the global spreadsheet.
That is a massive power shift. You're telling an international auditor, your checklist is nice, but it doesn't mean anything until our elders say it's okay.
It's the only way to avoid what some people call green colonialism.
Now, to do all this, to balance global markets and local spirits, that takes a very special kind of leadership. The paper calls it strategic pluralism.
This is maybe my favorite idea in the whole thing. It recognizes the incredible pressure on Pacific leaders. To thrive in the pluriverse, you have to wear multiple hats.
It's like code switching on a global scale.
It really is. I mean, imagine a local official. On Tuesday morning, they're on a Zoom with the World Bank. They're in a suit. They're using words like ROI, scalability, SDGs. They are playing the Horizon 1 game.
Because they have to get the money.
Of course. But Tuesday afternoon, they're back in their village in traditional clothes, leading a ceremony, making decisions based on consensus and ancient protocols. They're operating in a totally different world.
And the point is that neither one is fake. They're authentically both people.
Yes, that's strategic pluralism. It's the skill of navigating both worlds to get what your community needs. You use the language of the global system to get resources, but you apply them using the logic of the local system.
That sounds incredibly draining.
It is. The paper mentions the risk of burnout, but it also argues that this is the essential skill of the future. We have to respect this epistemic diversity, that there are different valid ways of knowing things. Science is one, indigenous wisdom is another. We need leaders fluent in both.
It really does seem like the Pacific is positioned to teach the rest of us how to do this.
That's the conclusion they come to. We tend to look at the Pacific as developing nations, right? As if they're behind us.
Trying to catch up.
But in reality, on this specific issue of regeneration, they're way ahead of us. The West is trying to invent regenerative tourism from scratch. We're writing papers about being biocentric. For Pacific Islanders, that connection, that reciprocity, that isn't a new theory. That's just reality. It's thousands of years of R&D we've been ignoring.
So while we're trying to invent our way out of the climate crisis with, I don't know, carbon capture apps,
they're reminding us that the best technology might actually be cultural. The innovation is in the values, not the hardware.
it all comes back to that flip. The host eats first.
The host sets the table, the host decides the menu, and if you, the guest, don't like it, well, you don't have to come.
That is such a powerful stance for a region that has been so dependent on tourism. It's a declaration of independence.
Or maybe a declaration of interdependence with the land and with each other.
So here's the thought I'm left with. We've spent this whole deep dive on tourism. But if this pluriverse approach, this idea of looking backward to ancient wisdom to solve a modern crisis, if that's the key for travel, what else is it the key for?
That's the question, isn't it?
I mean, look at modern medicine. There's a huge new interest in gut health, in holistic systems, things traditional medicine has known about for centuries.
Or architecture. We're inventing passive cooling for skyscrapers that are basically high-tech versions of what termites have been doing forever.
It feels like progress might not be a straight line forward anymore. Maybe it's about circling back to pick up the wisdom we dropped.
I think you're right. The real futurists of the next decade might not be in Silicon Valley. They might be elders in the Pacific, sitting in a circle in a Talanoa.
Well, I will definitely be looking at my next island trip a lot differently. Not as a purchase, but as an invitation.
Just make sure you sign the pledge.
And I will be asking where the tomatoes came from. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the pluriverse.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time.